Okay, so welcome to a new video. In this video, we'll be looking at using APIs in a universal Windows application. So we'll be able to display the data that we get from the API in a much nicer way with a graphical user interface. So here in Visual Studio, I've just created a new application, and I've already added in the XAML just because I want to focus more on the C# of this and less on the look of the application. In fact, I'm going to let you try to create your own, but I'm going to show a diagram of my layout just so you can get an idea. In fact, I recommend you go online and look at how other websites display their weather and maybe take some ideas on how they show their data and do something like that. So first, before we get into the code, I'm going to show you the API we're going to be using. In the last video, we did a stock market API, and in this video, we'll be using a weather API. So the API is from weatherapi.com, and it's free. I've already made an account. I already have a key, but if you wanted to get one yourself, you would click on Get Started Free, and then put in your email. This is for sign up, so email, retype your email, put in your password, a little robot check, and sign up. So yeah, so now I'm going to go up to the documentation to see how this API works. And you can see we have a little bit of an introduction here. So it provides access to weather and geodata as an API. It allows developers to create desktop, web, and mobile applications using this data very easily. And then you can see all the data that we can get from this API. So real-time weather, 14-day weather forecast, historical weather, astronomy, so a bunch of stuff. And yeah, okay, I guess so getting started, it says you need to get yourself an API key. And then for authentication, it says that we need authentication to the weather.com API is provided by passing your API key as a request parameter through an API. So here it shows how you need to give them your API key. And this is very similar to the way we did it in the last video, except instead of token, it's key. Okay, so here we can kind of see all the destination URLs to where we need to make our requests to the API. And in this application, I'm just going to be using this one, the current weather. So you can see the base URL is here, and then the API method is right after here, so current.json. So the entire thing is going to be the base URL plus / current.json. And the parameters here, you can see we have key. This is where you pass in your API key, and then Q is also required, and this is the query parameter, so basically like the search. And this is where you can put in, there's multiple ways you can search for a location. Latitude and longitude, city name, postal code, zip code, even IP address if you want to do that. That'd be pretty cool. And all the other ones are pretty, are either optional or specific to a certain API method. Okay, so now let's go down on the left side here. I see we can go to real-time API, and this is where the information about the response of the current API method is shown. So you can see current object contains current or real-time weather information for a given city, and then these are all the fields that the API will respond with. So this is basically all the data that we'll have access to in our application.